What is cracking, everybody? It's me, Scuba Steve with Kraken Aquatics, and today we are bringing another helpful video to you. 10 helpful tips for first-time snorkelers. Let's do this. For those of you that are watching who have experienced snorkeling, you know and understand that snorkeling is an awesome venture to sightsee the underwater world. But to some, the idea of snorkeling is daunting. Do you want some good news though? It isn't difficult to learn how to snorkel. What? That's right, you heard me correctly. It is not difficult to learn how to snorkel. Here's some helpful tips to get you, the new snorkeler, into the water snorkeling like a fish. Wait, do they snorkel? Briefly, let's go over how to snorkel in a nutshell. Number 1, use a mask and snorkel that is not only comfortable, but that fits you properly. You can check out the link in the description below on how to pick the dive mask that's just right for you. Number 2, seal the snorkel mouthpiece. Seal the snorkel mouthpiece. Say that 3 times fast, right? But it's very simple. So here's the mouthpiece on one of our Kraken Aquatics dry snorkels, which we recommend. It helps with keeping the water out of the tube itself. But for step number 2 here, you want to place your mouth over top of the mouthpiece and make sure your lips have a good, it doesn't have to be super tight, but a comfortable seal so that it's less likely to have water leaks coming from your mouth area, like this. So you put it in. They even have this like a little almost like a bite tray that you would have at the dentist. You can clamp down on that. You don't have to bite vigorously. Ultimately, one rule of thumb that I personally go by is if your mouth is tired when you snorkel, you're snorkeling incorrectly. You can just relax your jaw muscle. You can relax everything about the mouth. Number 3, float. Listen, this isn't a swimming competition or race or a deep dive or even free diving for that matter. This is snorkeling. This is a leisure relaxation activity slash hobby. So just float. You want to make sure that you don't try to go too deep. Again, this goes into making sure you don't submerge your snorkel all the way into the water so that you don't have water inside of the snorkel tube. So just float. And fourth and finally, for this how to snorkel in a nutshell, breathe in, breathe out, and relax. Listen, I get it. I was there too at one time. This was a daunting thing to think about with your head underwater, but you're still able to breathe without an oxygen tank. That's something new. And so being able to put your trust in a piece of plastic and silicone, that's a little iffy, but it's possible and it's highly enjoyable once you get over the initial kind of factor. So you now know how to snorkel, but what happens when you hit a roadblock when you're in the water? Foggy mask, leaking snorkel tube. What do you do with that? There are 10 helpful tips that we're going to tackle right now. Tip number 1, prevent your mask from fogging. There is nothing worse than doing a leisure activity that is mainly designed to sightsee underwater, and because of fog, you can't said sightsee. So how do we remedy that? I'm glad you asked. With spit.
Say what?
Yes, with spit. If you have the mask on your person and you notice that you are underwater and it's starting to fog, simply rise out of the water, pop your mask off like this. It doesn't have to come all the way off. Lower your mask at a tilted angle under your mouth like so, and spit. Now, don't hawk a big one. That's not what you have to do, okay? Just simply get some saliva in there. Rub the saliva in onto, if it's a single lens or a double lens, on both areas of the lens. Get it nice and lubricated with your spit. And then I personally don't put it back in the water, rinse it, and expel the water. I don't do that. What I do is I spit, rub, and then drain the excess spit or water that's in there, and I put it back on my face. I know that's kind of gross, but hey, we swim in fish pee and poop. So, hey, you know.
You serious?
So there's the first option. The second option is to simply remove your mask and use an anti-fog agent. You can use sprays, you can use rubs. There's different options. You can even use baby shampoo. I highly recommend baby shampoo because it's good for sensitivity so your eyes don't burn and your skin doesn't dry and have any type of reaction, unless you have an allergy to baby shampoo. You can also check out a link in the description below on how to pre-treat and anti-fog your dive mask. Tip number 2, how to clear water from your snorkel tube. If you've dove into the water and you've submerged this all the way, there's no way to permanently stop water from getting into your snorkel. So that's why it's designed to stay above the water and your face underwater. If it gets in, or let's say big waves are crashing in the ocean or even in the lake, and you're constantly getting water just hitting your snorkel, whether it's a dry snorkel or a regular snorkel, you are still prone to getting water in your snorkel. So how do we remedy that? Well, the quickest way for either a dry snorkel or a regular snorkel is to simply inhale and forcefully exhale to clear the tube of any water. I would recommend doing that twice to make sure all the water has left the tube. Water has left the tube. Now, the difference between a dry snorkel and a snorkel is in the name. This keeps your mouth quote unquote dry because of its design with the purge valve and how it makes a barrier with this piece inside. When the waves hit it or it gets splashed with water, this does a good job of sealing off the tube to where you can still breathe, but you're not getting so much water impacted into your mouth. Another tip when talking about keeping your snorkel dry is to put your tongue in front of the hole in the mouthpiece. I do that. I'm used to snorkeling, and so I relax my mouth with my tongue set at the front of my mouth, blocking the hole. That way, if any water does rush through, it's not automatically going back to my throat into my lungs. And in saying that, when you have to inhale to exhale and force the water to come out with that big blow, you're gonna get water in your mouth if you're inhaling. I recommend inhaling slow and keeping your tongue in the hole of the mouthpiece, so where you can kind of put it in and breathe, so that yes, you are getting water in your mouth, but you can expel that water with that huge exhale with the purging of said water. Tip number 3, clearing your dive mask while you're underwater. I'm gonna simulate this now. You can go ahead and find that link in the description below on how to clear your dive mask underwater, where I show you if this is on your person. One thing you want to do is if you get water in and it's built up here, or just even a small amount of water, what you want to do is you want to tilt your head up, open your mask at an angle this way, and breathe out through your nostril and to where the bubbles will push out and force the water from your mask, and then you're clear. You can stay underwater. It is that simple. I know, again, the daunting task of thinking, hey, it's obscured my vision, I can't see. Calm down, relax. You're gonna be okay. Just go through these steps. It's a trial and error thing. And because you're snorkeling, you're not gonna be, I would imagine you're not gonna be in so deep of water that you can't just stand up and readjust and become more comfortable. Listen, nobody needs to freak out when you're in the water. If it's becoming that way for you, get up, remove your gear, and safely exit the water so that you can collect yourself. You don't need to have any type of panic or anxiety attacks in the water, because that leads to more problems, and hey, that's not fun. At the end of the day, it's not worth it. Keep yourself safe. Tip number 4, use a flotation device. Listen, if you're new to snorkeling, it is no big deal if everybody around is snorkeling without flotation devices, but you need one. Listen, stay safe. Be calm in yourself. Use a flotation device until you get used to everything, whether that's a life jacket or, goodness, I've even used pool noodles before. It's all about your personal preference and your personal safety. So until you get used to that new realm of snorkeling, take time, use a flotation device, and be safe out there. Tip number 5, glide, don't swim. Again, it's not a sprint, it's not a marathon, it's not a race. You're not really even swimming when you put on the mask, the snorkel, and I personally recommend fins when you're snorkeling as well, because it helps in the gliding process. You don't want to use so much energy because this is a leisure activity. Again, leisure, therapeutic, relaxation, those are those key words when you think of snorkeling. You want to be able to glide around the surface of the water. You don't want to go too deep. Again, you risk your snorkel being filled with water if you do that, so you want to be safe and maintain that level of consistency in a glide. It's a relaxing venture, so just focus on the sights and on your comfortability and staying safe. You don't have to worry about going faster or treading water. That's not what this is about. Number 6, snorkel with your family or friends. It's never a good idea, in my personal opinion, to go out into any body of water, whether it be the ocean, river, streams, swimming pools, lakes, what you name it. It's never a good idea to go out there by yourself. Because that's when accidents can happen, right? We want to be sure we always put those preventative measures to keep ourselves safe while we're doing something that's fun and yet potentially harmful. So bring a buddy. I encourage the buddy system. What better way to bond with family or friends than to be in an environment where no one hears you so much, you can't breathe very well, it's secluded and unknown. Ooh, I shouldn't have led with that. Snorkel with your buddies. Number 7, very quickly, use correct and comfortable swimwear. Ladies, wear what's comfortable for you to snorkel so you're not having to focus on pulling and yanking and all this stuff. Use what's comfortable for you. Fellas, the same goes for you. Personally, I tend to use above the knee swimming trunks just so that it doesn't get caught on my knees. It's more free and having more mobility. I also will use a rash guard or even a t-shirt. Sometimes I use nothing. I just go, with just swim trunks on and then my equipment, the dive mask, the snorkel, and the fins. Again, it's personal preference, but you don't want to have to spend the whole time worrying about your wear when you should be focusing on enjoying your adventure. Number 8. Always consider the weather. Before you go onto your diving or your snorkeling adventure, or goodness, even jumping in the backyard pool, consider the weather. It's not wise to go out there during thunderstorms or whatever it may be. Cloudy weather, even when it rains, that's okay to an extent. But if it's downpouring and you're using an open snorkel, what is that gonna do? Common sense should tell you you're gonna be breathing in some water. And check the weather to be safe. Number 9, snorkel in calm water. It's very difficult to swim and snorkel and fight against currents and waves. It's a hard time to relax and be tranquil when you're having to get bumped back and forth from powerful waves and such. So swim and snorkel in calm water. That's one less thing that you need to worry about if you can help it. And finally, tip number 10, respect and study the marine life. Before going snorkeling, wherever you go as far as the destination, find out locally what they have there as far as coral reefs, the different type of aquatic life, fish, sharks, whatever it may be, jellyfish. If you're in the ocean, you want to make sure that you study some of these things. It's just a quick little Google search to help you and to help the marine life that's under the water, because you're going into their home. Respect their homes. My motto is leave everything the way you found it. Unless it's trash, do your part and pick it up. So do a quick study just to help you understand what's there so you won't be caught off guard if you see jellyfish or rays or coral reef, whatever it may be. Enjoy that new realm of underwater sea life. Thanks for watching, and as always, if this video has helped you in any capacity, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Smash the bell icon while you're at it so that you'll be notified every time Kraken Aquatics puts out new content. I'm Scuba Steve with Kraken Aquatics. Safe and happy snorkeling.